So GTA 4. Yeah, one of the final Rockstar games I actually plan to review. Obviously, I plan to cover Chinatown Wars, but that's really it. After that, I don't know what videos of Rockstar I will be really doing. So, of course, let's take a look at Grand Theft Auto 4 and its DLC, The Lost and Damned and The Ballad of Gay Tony. So, obviously, I'm going to be primarily focusing on GTA 4 and also mention some stuff that happens in the DLC. So basically with GTA 4, Nico arrives to Liberty City, and he's done this for quite a few reasons. First of all, he's basically trying to get away from this one man known as Freddy Bulgren, who kind of made his life too difficult back in his former home, as he believed that Nico was in debt to him after some cargo got lost. And of course we have Nico looking for one of two men, Dr. Breivik, and of course Bernie Crane, who he believed one of them to have betrayed his squad during his time in the military. Obviously his cousin Roman is in debt with some Albanian mobsters, and of course Russian mobsters. Nico's forced to eventually work with the Russian mobsters after killing Vlad. Well, before killing Vlad, and of course after killing him. The two men he works with are of course Mikhail Fostin and Dmitry Askolov. After Fostin has Nico killed the son of a powerful mobster, Dmitry has Nico kill Fostin in order to keep this peace. That, of course, turns out to be a betrayal, as Dmitry sells him out to his former employer, which nearly gets Nico killed. It's also at this time that The Lost and Damned begins, as Billy Gray gets released from prison. He's the Lost's president. And of course, there's a bit of uneasiness between him and Johnny Kleberts, the protagonist. Obviously, this kind of starts setting up some of the other plot lines that we'll see later in the game, as well with the Ballad of Gay Tony DLC. So basically, in Bohan, Nico starts working with player people, mainly Elizabeth Torres, meets Packy, meets Playboy X, finds out that Michelle is a cop, and of course is forced to work with the IAA. So there's quite a bit happening during this point. He also meets Francis McMurray and eventually starts working with him. The Lost kind of gets into this civil war after Billy goes away in prison, and obviously we eventually get to see how the Ballad of Gay Tony starts when Nico, Packy, and a few other guys rob a bank. Obviously Roman gets kidnapped at some point in the story, and there's this whole business with the diamonds and such. So quite a lot is happening in GTA 4. So GTA 4 has quite a few main things going for it. Basically, these diamonds that get stolen off of Ray Bogren, they somehow end up in the hands of this cook, and of course get sold to Luis Lopez, the Ballad of Gay Tony protagonist, and Tony Prince. The deal gets ambushed by the Lost, who are working with Ray Boccino, who's working with Nico Bellic, and of course, they hide him in these trash bags. Nico and some associates, Ray's picked them up. The diamonds mysteriously go missing, and Nico's forced to kind of clean it all up. Eventually, they try selling the diamonds at the Libertarian, only for the deal to get ambushed by Luis Lopez. So that's kind of it for the diamonds right now. Some other stuff is happening in GTA 4, and that's obviously Jerry, Packy's brother, getting arrested, and Nico obviously works with him at some other point in the game. Derek McRae gets to work a bit with Nico, and we learn a bit more about him. Francis makes Nico choose between him and Derek. Well, he makes Nico try killing Derek, but obviously Nico has that choice. And obviously Nico eventually is able to find out where Bunny Crane is, and eventually is able to realize that it wasn't Bunny who betrayed the unit, but instead it was Darko. So quite a lot's happening. Obviously, Roman's gonna get married sometime in the future, and Nico's starting to work with the Pellegrino family. Then Gracie Ancelotti, the daughter of a mobster, is kidnapped by Nico and held for ransom, and they want the diamonds from Luis and Tony. Of course, the deal gets ambushed by Ray Bogren, who Luis had worked with prior in the game, but Bogren believed that Luis had stolen the diamonds off of him. It's also at this time that the Lost and Damned DLC kind of ends with Billy, of course, being killed as he was going to testify against the Lost. The Battle of Gay Tony ends with Luis killing Bogren as he tries fleeing the country. So, focusing on the rest of Grand Theft Auto 4, Nick is eventually forced to make a decision to either work with Dimitri or get revenge on him. If he works with Dimitri, then Roman dies on his wedding day. If he kills Dimitri, then Nico's girlfriend Kate McRae dies on Roman's wedding day. Obviously, the ending for this game is pretty much the same. It's just swaps out Dimitri with Pellegrino. So if Dimitri's left alive, then Dimitri's the antagonist for the deal ending. If not, then Pellegrino's the antagonist in the revenge ending. And either way, you basically get a huge payout, so it doesn't really matter what ending you choose. So that's pretty much GTA 4 explained in like 8 minutes or something. There was a lot I did skip in this video. Obviously, there's quite a bit of this game that isn't really important to really go over. But the question is, how good was Grand Theft Auto 4? Was it a good game? Was it bad? Should you play it, or is it best left ignored? Well, frankly, it's a pretty solid entry in the series. Frankly, this is when GTA actually got good, in my opinion. But GTA 4 does have some flaws, primarily with the gameplay and driving. Parts of it have aged somewhat well. Combat's not too bad, but the lack of checkpoints in GTA 4, even though they were added for the DLC with the Lost and Damned and Belled, it's still kind of a hassle playing this game sometimes. But overall, I would definitely recommend playing GTA 4. It's a pretty solid entry, and it's a pretty fun game. Overall, if the DLC does add anything to it, I definitely would agree that the DLC does add quite a bit to the game, although it's a little too short, and honestly, some of it is kind of disappointing, because while it does explain some things that are going on with Luis and Johnny at the time of GTA 4, both are incredibly short, and frankly just feel like they really just don't take that long to complete. But overall, GTA 4 is a decent game, but a flawed one. I definitely recommend playing it if you haven't already, and if you have played it, well, I'll replay it sometime. Honestly, I plan to eventually cover a spin-off called Chinatown Wars, but I think with that, I think that'll really be the final GTA I actually cover on this channel, at least until 6 comes out. Of course, Rockstar games in general. Not really much of a big fan of them. So until GTA 6 comes out, this will probably be my final GTA review. So until then, goodbye, thank you all for watching, and I will of course see you all next time.